This is Dark Illumination Report Podcast Episode 8. The views expressed on this podcast are the views of the podcast host only. The host neither represents or endorses any specific satanic organization or tradition. If you enjoyed the show, please take a moment to leave us a review on iTunes, and please tell a friend. I'd really appreciate it. You can also follow me on Twitter at RJWO15. If you have questions or comments, you can leave us a message at speakpipe.com/DIR podcast. That's speakpipe.com/DIR podcast.
This is the Dark Illumination Report podcast with RJ Womack.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me for this episode of the podcast. Today I'm going to be doing a review of the book Pacts with the Devil by Jason Black and Christopher Hyatt. But before I get to that, I'm going to be giving you some entertainment news. Fox Network announced today that it will be doing a reboot of The Exorcist, which will air this fall. A&E has announced that Fear the Walking Dead has been renewed for a third season, and the release date for Salem Season 3 is set for late October. I have to be honest and tell you that the Exorcist news kind of caught me off guard because me and my friend were just joking a few months ago about how they would probably do a remake of The Exorcist because of all the supernatural stuff that's on TV right now. But I don't think either one of us ever thought it would actually happen. So to have it actually happen and to have it airing on Fox, especially after all the controversy they got about airing Lucifer, it kind of surprises me. Which, by the way, for those of you who may not know, Lucifer was renewed for a second season by Fox. I have to tell you that I was very surprised that Fox went on to renew Lucifer. I fully expected them to cancel it. I fully expected them to cave to the Christians and all their complaining about the show. I'm actually very proud of them for not doing that because the Christians don't have the right to tell other people what to watch or what to do. And it's about time that somebody said, no, we're not going to cave to that sort of thing. The ratings must have been strong enough that Fox thought it was worth keeping. And then they went ahead and doubled down by doing The Exorcist, which I was really excited about. Like I said, it doesn't really matter how they represent Satan in these shows to me. It just matters that there's more Satan on TV, and I'm always happy about that. I'd rather people see more stuff about Satan than see less stuff about Satan. It's better that they have an alternative view of the world, or at least something that represents Satan on TV, rather than just having a bunch of Christian crap. You know? That's it for the entertainment news. Let's get on to the book review. I'm always on the lookout for books that give accurate historical information that's good for beginners in Satanism. And because this book that I'm reviewing today was published in 1992, the benefit of that is that it's not influenced by conspiracy theories or Christian conspiracy theories or videos or inaccuracies in Wikipedia. The information that it gives you is actually factual, and it's based on what we know, or at least what we knew at that time. Now, the information may be updated since this book was published, but it's a good primer for you to get information about Satanism and how it developed over time. It gives you basic information about the Hellfire Club. It gives you basic information about the Black Mass. It gives you basic information about the philosophy of the left-hand path. And like I said, it's not influenced by modern conspiracy theories, so the information in it is factual. It doesn't go into a lot of depth. It gives you a brief overview, and that's the downside of the book, is that it doesn't really go into any subject in great detail. But the information it does give you is accurate, and that's what's important. By the way, before I forget, I want to mention that the introduction to the philosophy of the left-hand path and the comparison to the philosophy of the right-hand path and the left-hand path is available in the introduction. The introduction is one of the best parts of the book, so you don't want to skip that. I know most books you can skip the introduction and you haven't missed much, but in this book, it's really worth reading the introduction. The other thing I really appreciate about this book is they don't bullshit around when it comes to Crowley. They actually tell you what Crowley believed a little bit about the Holy Guardian Angel, about how he came to believe that the Holy Guardian Angel was not a part of the higher self, but a separate entity from the self. and that he didn't necessarily believe that demons and spirits were just aspects of the mind. You see, this is something that the OTO likes to deny that Crowley said. This is something that many Thelemites try to act like Crowley never said. In his book, Magic Without Tears, he talks about how his views have changed. And one of the things he talks about is people who say that HGA, the Holy Guardian Angel, is the higher self. He makes it clear in the quotes that he says in that book that that is not the case. And they use that quote in this book. And that's one of the few books that I've seen where they actually use this quote from Crowley where he talks about this. This is one of the things that the OTO tries to kind of deny that Crowley said. Why is it important? It's important because Crowley himself said that Aiwass is Satan and that Aiwass was his holy guardian angel. And if Aiwass is the author of the Book of the Law and Aiwass is an independent spirit named Satan, then that means Crowley believed in Satan and devoted his life to Satan, and that the Book of the Law is a satanic document. This is something that the OTO doesn't want people to know about, and they try to hide Crowley's more satanic quotes from the public. But there is no doubt that Crowley was a devil worshiper. Now, he may have been a devil worshiper on his own terms, but he was a devil worshiper. The book also includes versions of the Grimorium Verum, the Grand Grimoire, and the Constitution of Pope Honorius. It also includes a copy of Liber Astarte, where Crowley gives you a method by which you can devote yourself to any god, which makes the book worth it just by itself. I've always recommended Liber Astarte as a starting point for people who want to dedicate themselves to Satan. It's the first book that I've ever seen that ever talks about it. So for that reason and that reason alone, I think it's worth reading. But overall, it's a really great book, and I give it 4 stars. And it's one of the better books for newcomers to Satanism to get an idea of the philosophy of Satan and to get a little bit of history without having to read too much about history. So I highly recommend it to anybody who thinks they might enjoy it. Well, that's about it for this episode. See you next time. Take care, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Dark Illumination Report podcast. For the latest news headlines, show information, and more, go to rjwomack.com. That's rjwomack.com.